Clash of Critters looks simple at first, but if you upgrade the wrong critters, waste resources, or ignore formations, your progress can slow down really fast. So in this beginner's guide, I will show you the most important tips for new players who needs to know what to upgrade first, how to build a better team, and the biggest mistakes you should avoid. In this video, we will cover beginners progression, best upgrade priorities, team building formations, camp upgrades, free-to-play tips, and mistakes which you should always avoid, right? Main goal for beginners is to, of course, push stages, right? These stages are the most important aspect of Clash of Critters. This is where you are actually trying out your critters. This is where you are getting important rewards such as pinballs, such as Tatari's wishbox, and many different quest items. Your goal as a beginner is not to upgrade everything. Your goal is to make one strong team that can carry your progression. Of course, upgrading critters can be really weird because we have a lot of Tataris, which are basically the critters, right? As you can see here, every single critter has a different meaning, every single critter has a different idea, and every single critter is doing different stuff, right? Of course, we will mention that critters has a different classes, right? Here, you're gonna click on one critter, it's DPS, which means Fugagon's main idea is to deal damage, right? We're gonna click on Stalkerix. Of course, you can see Stalkerix is tank, which means the main idea is to soak up as much damage as possible to stay alive longer, so your DPS is going to deal more damage. Also, not only these ones, we have supports in Clash of Critters, such as, let me show you, it should be somewhere here. The supports are such as Churling, right? Support means that some supports are healers, some supports are buffers, some supports are, of course, giving you some debuffs, giving debuffs to zombies, which means they are weakening those ones, so you will deal more damage, right? Of course, critters not only has the classes, but they also has the badges, right? We have water critters, we have fire critters, we have grass critters, and also rock and lightning, right? Every single one of them is doing a different stuff, and every single one is important to have, because in some stages you will be able to use grass critters in a perfect way. In some stages grass critters are weak, and you should go for the rocks, right? And of course, basically every single class, rock, lightning, grass, or fire, has a similar stats: 10% HP, 10% attack, and 10% defense. Basically, understanding what critters are doing by looking at the skills, it's pretty easy to understand, because every single critter has only one skill, right? And for example, for Fugagon, Bramble Bomb is the main skill. Of course, you can always read the description of the skill, but you can also click here and you will be able to see what Fugagon's skill actually does. It's a pretty nice way to understand beforehand until you're gonna upgrade the critter, so you won't gonna make a mistake, right? Also, not only you will be able to see how this skill is actually performing, you can go here and you will see the actual numbers and stats, which are of course important, right? For example, damage factor 120%, explosion frequency every 2 attacks, and cooldown is 3 seconds, which means every 3 seconds Bramble Bomb will be thrown. Also, Bramble Bomb applies slow, move speed is reduced, 30% is actually the move speed reduction, which is really important, right? Because we should always remember that Clash of Critters is a tower defense game. And of course, arena factor 45%. So you have all the information which is necessary for you, and it's not even a lot, right? Because skills are only one, every single creature has only one skill, which is super important to understand, and it's easy, right? Of course, in this game, creatures has attack, HP, and defense, which is the main stats of the creatures. Of course, while you are playing the game, you are able to increase those stats, and let me show you how. Basically, you are able to feed your critters, and by feeding your critters, you will be able to increase the stats of your critter. For example, let's go for the Wolftham, which is the lightning critter, and here you can see we are able to increase the HP of this critter. How? It's a pretty nice question. Basically, these are the food which we are going to give the critters to eat, and let's check out, right? Let's check out here. For example, this food will, like fluffy candy, will give us 10 experience. This one will give us 30. And yeah, let me show you how the attributes of the critters can be increased, right? For example, here, whenever we're gonna increase the HP, we're gonna have 5% more HP on this critter, and that's of course really important, because more stats means more survivability, more damage, and more defense. Let's just do this, and yeah, this is how you are going to increase the stats of your critters, which is also really important. And basically, when we are talking about critters, it doesn't really stop here. You are also able to evolve your critters, right? For example, this one currently we have just level 1, the epic one. Now next evolution of the critter will be legendary, and you can see not only the appearance changes, also the skill changes, right? Like for example, for epic one, fires a lightning lance that pierces enemies and inflicts paralyze. And the next evolution is fires powerful lightning lance that, well, basically that's pretty the same, but on the red one we have an even better skill, right? Sometimes the piercing never stops, which is pretty cool. And the last stage, bigger critter, and also Magnetard carries aura lightning whenever on the field. Basically it will have an aura, and that aura will going to deal damage. Basically you can see how many ways you will be able to power up your critters, and the more powerful your critter will be, it will be easier for you to progress through the stages. Of course, since we have a lot of ways to upgrade our critters, and there is a lot of critters, you have to choose which ones you want to upgrade, right? The best things to focus on first, of course, are your formations, right? You can see you don't have to upgrade every single tank or every single DPS. Basically, I believe upgrading the critters or in DPS, it's better which ones are dealing AoE damage, because whenever you are fighting, you can see that zombies are a lot, and if one skill will deal damage to multiple targets, that's of course great. So understanding which critters you will be focusing on at first, especially if you are a free-to-play player, that's really important. Of course, main squad should be the first, and basically you can see my main squad is here, right? My main squad is Prugagon, my main squad is Stalgerix, this one is Frostpaw, one of my favorite ones are Cobledon, and here another one which is DPS is Ignisnap. Of course, pronunciations of the critters is hard, but I hope in the future I will get better at it, right? This is my main formations, and you can see I tried my best to invest as much boxes as possible, because these boxes are of course limited, and this is how you are increasing stars of your critters. And by increasing the stars, you will be able to, of course, evolve them in the end, which will make their skills even better, stats even better. So, understanding which critters you like most and focusing on a couple of them should be your priority. The biggest beginner mistake is spreading resources across too many critters. Instead of upgrading 10 different units, focus on few critters you actually use in your main squad. And that's what I have done for myself, because you can see how many critters are there actually available, and you can see I have not even put stars on them. All the critters which you can see here are basically gettable by playing the game without spending in this game, right? We already spoke about priorities. I believe in terms of priorities, main damage critters should be the priorities. Tank and frontline critters should be your second priority. Support critters, which are of course important, because I believe healing in this game is really important, because it will help you to stay alive longer. Damage is usually what helps you to clear waves faster, but if your frontline dies too quick, your whole team falls apart. So don't ignore tanks either. And as I said, one of my favorite critters are Cobledon, because not only this tank deals a lot of damage, but also it is really tanky with a lot of HP and a lot of defensive stats. And you can see I have C level on the defense. So far I have 10%, but hopefully I'm going to get 25% in the near future, right? So that's all I wanted to say regarding critters. Of course, there is much more ways you can upgrade your account in Clash of Critters, and one of the ways are of course your hometown, right? At first we have to mention that hometown is not that important. Not that important, but of course it's important. In main town, most of the buildings are just accessories. Only some of the buildings are super important, such as these trees, right? These trees are going to give you paintballs on a daily basis. It requires some time to actually generate its paintballs, and with this help of these paintballs, you are able to increase levels of your critters and play the feature which is the most important feature in my opinion in Clash of Critters, which is pinball, right? Of course, whenever you are clearing the stages, such as here, you can see whenever I'm gonna defeat the boss, I will be able to clear more space for the city, and whenever I'm clearing the space, I'm actually unlocking some more accessory buildings, right? Also, you can click on builder and you can basically create your hometown however you wish that hometown to be. So the hometown is not that important, but main idea of this hometown is basically these trees, which is giving us pinballs, and of course the pinball building, which is allowing us to actually enter the pinball feature of the game. And I believe pinball is most important feature in this game. And let me show you how, right? Why, right? First of all, you can see 149 is the number which is at the top of the pinball feature. This is the level of my critters. Basically, whenever I'm gonna have 150, every single critter will be 150, which means I don't have to increase levels of the critters one by one. So the gameplay is really easy. Here is the rewards. Sometimes you're gonna see the quest items here or game mode items. Of course, more pinballs you are going to have, you will be able to have higher multiplier, right? So far I have X2. I can go to X3, I can go to X5, not to X10. If I had way more, I would be able to get to X10, right? And whenever you have 5x multiplier, all the rewards will be 5x. So let me show you the gameplay of the pinball, which is the most fun in this game. This is how you are getting the most rewards, most resources, and of course it's not always about resources. This is how you are actually increasing levels of your critters, and by doing that, of course, you are going to clear more stages whenever it's getting harder and harder. So that's really simple, really easy. You're gonna see a lot of game modes in this feature, and hopefully those game modes will be interesting for you to actually play around. Of course, I'm not gonna play too much. I want you to try this out, and let's go to the main stage, right? I will show you how actually the gameplay happens whenever you are playing Clash of Critters. You can see this is couple of roads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? When you start the game, there is only one road, and what are the main tips whenever you are creating your formation in Clash of Critters? Of course, at the front line will be the tanks, right? And these are the tank critters which has high defense, high HP, and they are able to survive and protect our DPS critters. You're gonna see there is a like, right? Which means lightning critters here has an advantage. They are dealing more damage, right? If you're going to put lightning here, wait, I'm gonna show you what happens whenever you can see water critters on this line will deal less damage. That's why it's always better to have green likes on your critters, which means they are going to deal full damage when you are progressing and when you are fighting against zombies, right? And yeah, finally, let's check out the gameplay. Gameplay is really easy. You don't have to do much. You are just looking, creating the formation. If you are losing, of course, you will exchange the places of your critters, and hopefully you are going to win whenever you're gonna change places. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to defeat this boss, and main idea, if you are at least losing from one angle, you are losing the match. And yeah, whenever you are losing, you are going back to the pinball, you are increasing the levels of your critters, you are feeding your critters, increasing stats, and hopefully you are winning at the end of the match, right? So this is the main gameplay of the critters, Clash of Critters, and it's pretty easy, it's really fun. You are progressing through, getting a lot of rewards, and of course here is the map. You can see on the map, I only covered couple of regions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? And you can see how many regions is on this map, and it's really early for the gameplay. That's why hopefully in the future I will be able to progress through this map and unlock more and more fields, so I will get even better rewards. Also, whenever we are speaking about beginner's guide, we should always remember regarding mistakes, right? Because mistakes happen whenever you are beginner. The biggest beginner mistakes are upgrading every critter, evolving without plan, right? Because evolving requires you to have small quests which you have to do, and whenever you're gonna do those quests, the critter will be actually evolved and get even stronger. Ignoring formations, which I already mentioned, if you have dislike on your critter, it means that critter won't gonna deal enough damage. If you are having like on your critter, it means the critter is dealing full damage, right? Ignoring daily rewards, right? And daily rewards, you can see, you can go to pinball feature, you're gonna click on mall, and in the mall, at the end of the mall, you can see here there is a free 60 pinballs, and on a daily basis, especially for free-to-play players, that's super important. Also, one of the biggest mistakes for the beginners are not checking events, such as, for example, here we have fishing event, and this fishing event will give you quite a good amount of rewards if you are playing it on a daily basis. I will be honest, almost every single game mode, every single event is super easy, so all you need to do is just to be attentive, just to follow the guide, and it will be easier for you to progress through the stages of the events, right? And also, of course, for all the free-to-play players just like me, I am having some more tips for you. Be patient with your upgrades, especially for Tatari, right? Because these boxes is really unique rewards whenever you are playing some events. So 33, I believe I was collecting these Tatari wish boxes for a week. So trust me, 33 wish boxes won't gonna be enough for you to progress your Tataris in a state where they are going to just deal too much damage to zombies. Don't chase every critter because you won't gonna have enough resources. Complete daily tasks, because as a free-to-play player you won't gonna be able to just purchase the items. You should go and do this quest, and these quests are super easy to complete. And of course, focus on your strongest team, and as I have mentioned, my strongest team is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tataris. Of course, if I was pay-to-play player I would have more, but for free-to-play players we should work with less, but we should be smart, right? As a free-to-play player, your biggest advantage is you being smart in terms of resource management. You don't need to spend money if you avoid wasting what the game actually gives you. That's my beginner's guide for Clash of Critters. If you are new, focus on one strong team, upgrade the right critters, and don't waste your resources early. Comment your current team below and I will try to help you to improve it. Also, subscribe because I will be making more Clash of Critters guides, tier list, and progression tips soon. As always, if you like the video, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody an amazing day, morning, and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.